Welcome back to the Grambling State Dynasty, guys. This week, it's the battle for Louisiana as our undefeated Grambling State Tigers travel to Baton Rouge to lock up with the number 8 LSU Tigers. A slow start to the first quarter. LSU is set up for a long field goal, but he pushes his left, and Rogers can return it. He starts left, cuts it back right, and turns on the burners. The explosive freshman goes end zone to end zone. Touchdown, Grambling. GSU strikes first, 7-0. LSU takes back over. Smith drops back, stands tall in the pocket, then throws a dart to Young for an 18-yard pickup. Then Amos takes a counter right, cuts back inside, then makes another cut and picks up 14. A few plays later, Smith drops back and tries to go into the end zone, but Kent Johnson makes a diving interception. What a play by the freshman. Oh, man, he went full extension to make the catch, but GSU could not capitalize. LSU takes back over. Amos takes the sweep left, avoids 2 defenders, and picks up 10. Then Amos gets it again and gets a huge block on the outside, and the big back rumbles ahead for 8. A few plays later, Amos takes the handoff up the middle, finds a crease, and walks into the end zone. We're knotted up at 7 apiece. Ensuing kickoff, Rogers is 3 yards deep, and he's bringing it out. He starts up the seam, bounces it outside, gets a couple blocks on the outside, hits the sideline, and is gone. Eric Rogers does it again, 103 yards to the house. Touchdown, Grambling. This kid is electric. LSU looks to answer. Smith drops back and hits Young on the outside, and he picks up the first. Then Amos takes the handoff left, cuts it back up the middle, finds some space, and gains 11. Then Smith would keep the option right, fakes out Ginn, weaves through traffic and picks up 22 yards. Drive was stalled, and LSU settles for 3. Next Grambling possession, JT takes the handoff, weaves, and powers ahead for 9. Then King drops back and hits Antonio Walker on the slant for 12. A few plays later, King goes back to the air. He hits Edwards on a curl. He puts the quarter in the spin cycle and is gone. Sean Edwards goes 50 yards to the house. Touchdown, Grambling. GSU leads 21-10. LSU would try to come back out running. Smith keeps the option right, but Brandon Ginn shuts it down for the 3-yard loss. 2 plays later, Amos takes the handoff, cuts it outside, sheds a tackle, and picks up 12. Then on 3rd and short, Amos takes the handoff again, cuts upfield, and he has some room. He finally gets pulled down after picking up 24 yards. Next play, Smith drops back and throws a dart to Pennington across the middle. He gains 16. 2 plays later, Amos takes the handoff, tries to bounce it outside, but the G-men swarm him for a 5-yard loss. LSU would settle for 3. GSU goes 2-minute drill. King drops back and threads the needle to Bradford across the middle for 15. Next play, King goes back to the air, linking up with the big tight end for another 11. We got 30 ticks left on the clock. King drops back, rolls to his right, plants his feet, and throws it deep to Cox on the cutback for 28. Next play, King goes back to the air and threads the needle to Bobby Smith over the middle for 28 yards. Then you got to finish what you start. King drops back and hits Jordan Paxton in the end zone. Touchdown, Grambling. GSU extends their lead to 15. And that would take us to halftime. Grambling State is up 28-13. It was a sluggish start for the offense, but King and the boys are starting to come alive. The defense needs to stop the LSU run game. They're giving up way too many yards. We jump into the 3rd. Smith keeps the option up the middle, sheds a tackle, and picks up 11. A few plays later, Amos tries to bounce it outside, but Christopher Ward lowers the boom for a 1-yard loss. LSU set up to go for it on 4th. Smith with the play action and throws it up in the end zone, but Rayshawn Baker swats it down. Turnover on downs. And GSU would take over. JT takes the trap up the gut and pinballs his way to 11 yards. Next play, King hits easily on the screen. He follows his blockers and picks up 12 more. Then JT shows off his vision, making a cut, finding some room, but he runs into Bradford and he picks up 13. A few plays later, King drops back, but tries to force a pass to Bradford, and Nichols jumps the route and gets the interception. Good news for GSU, LSU could not capitalize. So GSU takes back over, and JT goes beast mode, absolutely destroying a safety and picking up 12. Then King goes back to the air, dropping a dime to Paxton on the outside for 20. Later in the drive, Thomas takes the handoff, bounces it to the right, drops his shoulders, and picks up 9. 2 plays later, JT gets into the end zone, Touchdown, Grambling. Tigers starting to pull away. We're in the fourth. Smith drops back and hits Amos on the outside. Getting misses, and the big back picks up 11. Then Smith goes back to the air, moves around in the pocket, throws it to the outside, and is picked off by Justin Smith. The G-men strike again. And King comes out throwing, hitting Bradford across the middle for 13. Then Thomas takes the handoff up the middle, finds a nice running lane, and picks up 12. Next play, King goes back to the air, hitting Edwards on the slant, and he fights forward for 12. And Joel Thomas puts the nail in the coffin from 7 yards out. Touchdown, Grambling. And that would do it. GSU wins big again. 49-13 is your final. Chris King had a solid game, 17 of 25 for 296 and 3 touchdowns. Thomas finished with 184 yards and 2 scores. And Sean Edwards had a big game, 3 grabs for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the star of the game has to be freshman Eric Rogers. A kick 6 and a kickoff return to the house. Thanks for watching, guys. Coming up in the Tigers In podcast, we welcome the newest members to the recruiting class and get ready for a tough matchup against Ole Miss. Have a great day, guys. 2 fingers in the air. Peace.